नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ प्रोफेशनल लर्निंग में आपका स्वागत है।
I've got to show you how to work with your filters in a non-destructive manner, a non-permanent way. And I've been alluding to this all the way along throughout the entire course, that when I'm working inside Photoshop, I try to work in as non-destructive a way as possible. I always want to be able to go back. I'm always changing my mind, or I want to change the effect or change the color correction that I've been working on. So let me show you how this is going to work here. What I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to head to the good old history panel. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to step back to the merge layers there. That's where we're back to just layer 1. You'll recall in the previous exercise I had selected both layers and hit Controller Command E on my keyboard to merge them together. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to set this guy up for a non-destructive filter approach, if that makes sense. What we're going to do is we're actually going to convert this layer here, layer 1, to what's referred to as a smart object. So from the filter drop-down menu, what I'm going to do is choose the second option here, convert for smart filters. Go ahead and choose that guy. And you'll get a message here inside Photoshop. No one ever reads these, so go ahead and click on OK. This guy is now a smart object layer. How do we know? We know because of the icon that we see inside the layer thumbnail, this guy right here, okay? So what we can now do with this guy is we can now go and apply filters to him in a non-destructive manner. Let's go and take a look at what we can do here. I'm going to go to the filter menu, and maybe just for simplicity, maybe I'll head to one of the more simpler filters or effects that we have here. I'll go down to distort, and let's go and check out zigzag. So I'll go zigzag here. There he is, the zigzag filter. No preview, so I'm really not sure exactly what I'm going to wind up with here. So I'll throw on some kind of an effect like this, and I'll simply click on OK, and Photoshop applies the effect. Now it's kind of subtle in there. It looks like my looks like my robot head here took a fist right between the eyes. But in any regard, more importantly than my beat up robot is what's happening inside the layers panel. So there's layer 1. Note the icon over on the right-hand side. We now have a smart filter layer with zigzag applied to them. And because we have little eyeball icons, this means we can turn on and shut off the filter that's being applied to this guy. Okay? Very cool stuff. What if I decide that I want to make a change to the actual zigzag filter that I've applied? Well, all I need to do is simply double-click on zigzag. Gets me back into the zigzag filter where I can go and make some adjustments, maybe something like this or whatever the case may be, okay? And I'll go ahead and click on OK, and there's the filter now applied to my image in a non-destructive manner. Very cool stuff. So I can always go back and adjust the filter if I want to, simply by double-clicking on them, or I can disable the visibility of the filter if I want to. What I could also do is I could remove the filter from my image just by taking the smart filter itself and dragging him down to the trash can icon at the bottom of the layers panel, and we're all the way back to where you and I started. How do you like that? Very, very cool stuff. So your non-destructive filters are going to work with the traditional filters that we have here inside Photoshop, which we started off by taking a look at. They'll also work with the filter gallery as well. And by the way, as far as the filter gallery is concerned, notice that I come back into the filter gallery and it remembers the last filters that I had used. Just kind of a handy aspect of the filter gallery, which perhaps you already figured out on your own. Who knows? But let's say, for instance, I decide that I want to go and throw on some different effects. I'm just going to throw on a couple of quick effects here for us to see what we wind up getting. Let's say something like that. And I go ahead and click on OK inside my image. Photoshop applies the gnarly effect to my cartoon head. And of course, because he's a smart object, we're now getting smart filters. I can double click on the filter gallery, get back in here, and go and make some changes to this guy. Okay? So I know that the filters that I'm using here really aren't very educational, very useful here for you, but it's really more about taking this object, this layer, and converting him to a smart filter, and then, of course, working with your filters inside Photoshop in a non-destructive manner.